This man was out of his mind. He tied a rope to the control stick while flying the plane. Then, ignoring the danger of falling from 30,000 feet, stood up. He stepped out of the cockpit and onto the wing. A parachute was strapped to his back, and his eyes were locked on the drop zone ahead. His nerves stretched tight. But just then, the rope securing the control stick snapped. The plane began to lurch violently, throwing the man toward the back of the wing. He summoned every ounce of strength, trying to pull himself out of a crevice, but the out-of-control plane kept flipping through the air. He couldn't gain any leverage. As the plane plummeted rapidly, he thought fast. Pulling a dagger from his chest pocket, he stabbed at the wing. The blade was sharp but barely left a scratch. Growing desperate, he put more force behind each stab until a crack finally formed. As the wing began to break apart, the man fell with it, free-falling through the sky. Though he escaped the wreckage unharmed, he had no control over his body as he tumbled in midair. He reached for the parachute's ripcord. After several frantic tries, his trembling left hand finally found the ring. He yanked it and survived. Relieved, the man burst out laughing. The process had been terrifying, but at least he made it. That joy didn't last, because he deployed the parachute too early. He landed far from the rocky cliff he'd aimed for, so close, yet hopelessly out of reach. When he came to, he saw a wild mountain goat licking his face, but the next moment, he gasped in horror. He looked around and realized he was thousands of feet above the ground. Thankfully, there was still a possible route upward, a slim chance of survival, but his will to live wouldn't let him ignore it. He studied the smooth cliff face, then came up with a plan. He drew his dagger, removed his shoelaces, and stuffed them into his shoes. Holding a blade in each hand, he leapt, spun, stabbed into the ice, and pushed off with his right foot. Just like that, he'd crafted a crude climbing rig. He kept his eyes forward, trying to ignore the dizzying height, but the daggers were too fragile. With a snap, they gave way, and he plummeted again. Fortunately, his parachute snagged on a dead tree branch, saving him from certain death, but the relief was short-lived. The branch couldn't bear the weight and began to crack. In a split-second move, he twisted his body, secured himself, and slashed the parachute straps just as the branch gave out. He dove into a nearby crevice with milliseconds to spare. Staring at the torn parachute shattered on the ground, he broke into a cold sweat, even in sub-zero temperatures. Just as despair threatened to consume him, a soft, glowing silhouette appeared above, catching his eye.